Yo, what is good, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be breaking down the NHL DFS slate for Wednesday, November 16th, and we got ourselves just a 3-game slate here tonight, where I'm going to go through a couple of my favorite line stacks, some of my favorite individual plays, and some of my favorite value plays, and then we'll wrap up the video talking a little prize picks. With that being said, let's dive into my spreadsheet here. And we're going to kick things off here in the top left-hand corner with those highest implied game totals. You can see this game between the Sabres and Senators is coming in at 7 goals. Kings at Oilers coming in at 6.5, and then the Blues at Blackhawks coming in at 6 goals. And then take a look behind me there, got the Vegas odds, where you can see the Senators, Blues, and Oilers are all favored to win here tonight. And before we dive into a couple of my favorite line stacks here, everyone, just want to remind you I am going to be traveling starting tomorrow for Thanksgiving through next Friday, going back up to Minnesota and spending some time in Canada as well. I'm going to try and get out as much content as possible on both the NHL and NFL side of things, but might be a little more limited due to me traveling. If you want to know what videos I will and won't be posting, join my Discord channel, link in the description below, and I'm happy to let you guys know where I'm at. With that being said, let's dive into a couple of line stacks that I like here for tonight, starting with that first line for the Ottawa Senators, and really I like the top 2 lines for the Sens here tonight. I just prefer this first line. They have been much better, but that second line of Pinto, DeBrincat, and Batherson, I definitely have some interest there. But on this first line, we're going to get Stützle with Tkachuk and Giroux. These guys have been awesome here over their past 5 games, combining for 5 goals, 15 assists, 20 points, while racking up 55 shots on net. And they got a great matchup at home here tonight against the Buffalo Sabres, who have really slumped here as of late. They're on a 6-game losing streak, and on that losing streak, they've allowed 4.80 goals per game, with a penalty kill just hitting at a 59% rate. Those are both league lows here over the past 10 days. And then a cheaper line stack I like here tonight is that second line for the Los Angeles Kings. We got Deneau centering Moore and Arvidsson. These guys have pretty much been playing together for the last 2 years now and have shown some really great chemistry. In fact, as of today, they rank 5th in the NHL as a line in expected goals per 60. The three have combined for 5 goals, 17 assists, 22 points in their past 10 games. And I'll play on the number 2 power play as well, so it's a strongly correlated line and a good matchup here tonight against the Edmonton Oilers, who have allowed 3.63 goals per game this season, the 4th most in the NHL. We all know that the Oilers can put up points, score goals. That's not the issue for them. It's their defense and goaltending that really gets them into trouble. Now, folks, before we dive into some of my favorite individual plays here, if you could like this video and subscribe to the channel, I would greatly appreciate that. I got hockey content coming out for you guys all year long. Again, if you want to join my Discord channel, link in the description below, where I'll be giving vacation updates here over the next 10 days, letting you know which content I will and won't be posting. And for those of you who are on Twitter, if you want to give me a follow here, I am occasionally posting some NHL bets as well. Had ourselves a pretty good night last night. Alright, now diving into some of these individual plays here, I'm actually going to highlight these in pairs again, just like I did the other day on that smaller slate. Starting with a pair here for the Edmonton Oilers, Leon Draisaitl and Zach Hyman. Both those guys playing on the second line in number 1 power play. I really don't need to make a case for Draisaitl, just like I don't need to make a case for McDavid. Their numbers speak for themselves. Draisaitl has 9 goals, 19 assists, 28 points in 16 games this year, damn near averaging 2 points per game. And Hyman's been very good as well, 7 goals, 10 assists, 17 points in 16 games. He's bounced back and forth playing on that first line with McDavid and on this second line with Draisaitl. And he's playing well with both of those guys. And again, both these guys play up on the number 1 power play for Edmonton, which has been lethal this year, scoring at a 32.2% rate, the 3rd best in the NHL. And one of the areas the Kings have really struggled with this year is their penalty kill, just hitting at a 74.6% rate, the 7th worst in the NHL. And the LA Kings are not afraid to take penalties, ranking 3rd in the NHL right now in minor penalties taken. The next pair I want to highlight here is is Alex Tuch and Jeff Skinner of the Buffalo Sabres. Both those guys playing up on the first line in number 1 power play. Hell, if you want to mix in Tage Thompson, I have no issue with that. Rolling them out as a line stack. Well-correlated line that play big minutes together 5-on-5 and all up on that number 1 power play. I actually talked about them yesterday in my video if you watched that. The reason I went with Tuch and Skinner here over Tage is because Tage is a lot more expensive in the upper 7K range, so you get a nice little discount here with these two guys, and they've played well together. We saw them play well together all of last year. Again, talked about that in my video yesterday, and they've kind of shuffled some things this year, the Buffalo Sabres, experimenting with new lines, as they should, being that they're a young team, but we saw these guys get put back together last game, or just last night rather, against the Vancouver Canucks, where they played very well. Tuch finished the game with 1 goal, 2 assists, 3 points, and Skinner had 2 goals himself. And even though they are playing on back-to-back nights, I do like the matchup here tonight against the Ottawa Senators, who have just not been very good defensively this year. Goaltending has not been good either. They've allowed 3.53 goals per game this year, and their penalty kill has struggled a little bit too, just hitting at a 76.8% rate. And then I got Jordan Kyrou there. I am going to highlight Braden Shen when we get to the low-priced options. Both those guys playing on that third line, so you could stack them together. But Kyrou as a one-off play, I like that too, and you could even stack him up with the power play that he plays on, being that he plays on that number 2 power play. Again, plays on the third line, but this is a guy who's still playing around 16 minutes per game. He actually leads this Blues team this year in goals, expected goals, shot attempts, and shots on goal. So I like the way that he's firing the puck, and he's got a good matchup here tonight as well against the Chicago Blackhawks. Now, moving over here to the defensemen, and I'm not really in love with the high-priced defensemen on this slate. I'll pretty much be spending below $5,000 here tonight, but one guy I would be willing to pay up for is Justin Falk, and I'd stack him with Jordan Kyrou on that number 2 power play, and I do this because the St. Louis Blues do a very good job of splitting up their top 2 power plays. In fact, their number 2 power play played more than their number 1 power play just last game against the Colorado Avalanche, and Falk has been good this year, 11 points through 14 games. I love the way he's shooting the puck, averaging around 3.5 shots on net per game, and he's got a nasty shot, so we're hoping that the Blues can get on the power play a handful of times here tonight. Again, stacking up Kyrou and Falk together. Don't be afraid to mix in some of those other forwards against a penalty kill that has struggled for Chicago, just hitting at a 76% rate this year, the 9th worst in the NHL. I then got Sean Durzi there of the Los Angeles Kings, and what I would do is stack him up with that second line that I highlighted earlier for the LA Kings, being that all 4 of those guys play on the number 2 power play. Now, unfortunately, the LA Kings aren't like the St. Louis Blues where they split up their top 2 power plays pretty evenly, but we should still see these guys get on the power play a little bit here tonight because the Edmonton Oilers are not afraid to take penalties, ranking 7th in the NHL in minor penalties taken, and their penalty kill has been abysmal this year, just hitting at a 70.6% rate, the 3rd worst in the NHL. Now, I love the value we get out of Jake Sanderson here tonight, who's pretty much taken the Thomas Chabot role with him on the shelf right now, and $4,000 is very cheap for a guy who should play around 24, 25 plus minutes tonight and play up on that number 1 power play. Again, against a struggling Sabres team right now, highlighted their statistics earlier, so if you want to mix in Sanderson with forwards on that number 1 power play, that'll be a go-to move for me tonight. And then I got Owen Power there of the Buffalo Sabres, who was recently bumped up to that first defensive pairing with Rasmus Dahlin, which has led to him playing big minutes. In his last 2 games, he's damn near played 27 and 30 minutes. Really hard to ignore that for a guy priced in the 3K range, while he's getting time on the number 2 power play and playing with an offensive defenseman in Rasmus Dahlin. He's going to get points just by playing with him. Now, he's racked up 8 assists so far this year through 16 games, so about a half point per game type of player. But again, it really just comes down to the opportunity and minutes that he's getting here right now at a cheaper price tag of $3,700. And then I got a couple of goaltenders there for you. You might be looking at it and going, hey, that's from the same game, and you'd absolutely be right. But again, it's a 3-game slate. Most of you know what I'm about to say right now. 6 goalies to choose from. I truly believe there's a case to be made to roster any one of these goaltenders. It ultimately comes down to what the rest of your lineup looks like. So if you think this game between the Blues and Blackhawks turns into a shootout tonight, then no, don't roster one of the goaltenders from that game. Go with the goalie from one of the other 2 games. I don't foresee this game turning into a shootout tonight, which is why I went with Binnington and Soderblom. Essentially, I'm going with Binnington here as a consensus safe play, and then more of a boom-bust play was Soderblom. But I'll probably be mixing in some of those other goalies as well. Again, it really just comes down to what the rest of my lineup looks like. And as always, going to wrap up this spreadsheet here with 3 low-priced options or sub-4K forward plays. First guy I got there is Brayden Schenn of the St. Louis Blues, who I name-dropped earlier when I was talking about Jordan Kyrou. Both those guys playing on that third line if you want to stack them together. However, Schenn does play on the number 1 power play, whereas Kyrou plays on the number 2 power play. But you could stack them together. They're still going to play big minutes together 5-on-5. Now, Schenn does not shoot the puck much. That's what Jordan Kyrou does. Schenn is more of the playmaker, but he does have 3 goals, 9 assists, 12 points through 14 games, so he's certainly capable of getting on the score sheet. And again, it's just a cheap stack to put him with Jordan Kyrou. Next is Shane Pinto. Kind of name-dropped him earlier as well, playing on that second line in number 2 power play for the Ottawa Senators. He's actually tied for first on this team with 8 goals this year. Not bad for a rookie, and again, a good matchup at home against the Buffalo Sabres. Now, finally, I had to highlight at least one Chicago player. I went with Taylor Radish here, who's currently playing on that second line with Tays, but playing up on the number 1 power play, where he's racked up 4 goals, 3 assists, 7 points through 15 games this year. And then to wrap up this video here, want to talk a little prize picks with you guys. I'm getting this video out a little late here today, so I'm going to wrap this up pretty quickly, but a few that were sticking out to me initially: Alex DeBrincat over 3.5, Drake Batherson over 2.5. I'll likely only take one of those as my final picks, maybe both, because the Sabres have been so bad here as of late, but those are 2 that are definitely sticking out to me. Now, Tage Thompson playing on back-to-back nights and going on the road, I don't necessarily love that, but that guy loves to shoot the puck, so that's going to be in consideration for me as well. And then one of these LA Kings players here, Velarde, Fiala, Arvidsson, Moore, they all kind of stick out to me because Edmonton allows a lot of shots as well. But you guys know the drill here. I'm going to go through, do my research, and I'll let you know my final picks in a comment below on this video. I'll be sure to pin that comment as well. And again, I'm posting those in my Discord channel too, if that is easier for you. Link in the description below to join that. Now, for those of you who have not signed up for Prize Picks yet but want to get in on this action, I got a promo code that you should definitely be taking advantage of. When you sign up, use my promo code GRIFF. GRIFF, and Prize Picks will give you all the way up to a $100 match deposit. Now again, you do not have to put $100 in. You want to put in 50, they'll match 50. You want to put in 20, they'll match that $20. Again, they'll match anything up to $100 as long as you're using my promo code GRIFF. GRIFF upon signing up. Alright everyone, that is going to wrap up this video here for today. As always, thank y'all for taking the time out of your day to watch the content here on this channel. If you could like this video and subscribe to the channel, I would greatly appreciate that. Let's have ourselves a great day here, folks. Let's win some money on this 3-game slate. In the meantime, I'm out of here.